Minasan, konnichiwa. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'd like to share some information that I haven't been able to share with you yet because I've been off YouTube for a little while, just dealing with family-related stuff. But now I'm finally able to sit down and have a good chat with you about what's been going on recently. And today I'm going to talk about my father's recent visit to Japan and some of the beautiful and some first-time experiences and memories that I think he's going to hold in his heart forever. It's an interesting perspective because my dad has been to Japan before, and yet I still feel that every time he comes here there's new perspectives and experiences. Each time he comes, I think it just reinforces how much he really appreciates and enjoys Japan. So please do enjoy some of the stories about the activities that we did and the points that he made about everyday life in Japan. Before I get into that, I would like to ask you a massive favour, and for those who have not yet subscribed to my channel, I would really be grateful if you could do so. To those who are subscribed, thank you for always supporting me, it means so much. And also feel free to leave a comment on a topic that you would appreciate me talking about. Of course, I try my best to do interviews, but I think given recent circumstances, I will be trying to do a bit more sitting down and having a chat about any of the things that you're interested in. So please do leave a comment, let me know. And hajime mashou. So one of the first things that we did after Dad had arrived and slept and gotten ready to adventure out into Japan, we went to my parents-in-law's holiday home where my husband, as a young boy, would spend his summers, and it's in a location that's very near Mount Fuji. And we were extremely lucky because we had just the most spectacular view of Mount Fuji, which I think not everyone gets that. Like, I know foreigners who come to Japan with one of the main priorities being to see Fuji-san, and yet it's a cloudy day. And we were so lucky. We went down in the morning and we saw just, there's something about Mount Fuji which has this like powerful, sacred thing, and it feels, as my dad said, just to see it there is such an event. It was really exciting, I think, for all of us to see and to really understand it. So the time spent with my parents-in-law and my dad and my husband in Rio to have sort of 3 generations in that beautiful holiday home was really special and important for both my Japanese parents and for my dad to spend that time together as a family. I have mentioned in other videos quite how grateful I feel to have both a British and Japanese side of my family. So it felt really nice just to spend time together. We took it quite easy and had barbecues, and it was lovely. The first night, my parents-in-law cooked a lovely steak dish. My mother-in-law loves like good quality steak, so she treated us. And then on the second night, my father cooked sort of like a course meal, and he loves to cook, he loves to create, and he loves to explore Japanese supermarkets and produce. So he had a lot of fun there and made a delicious meal. And it was a nice 3 days, me doing a bit of running and spending time as a family. On the second week of his visit, we went to Kyoto. There are lots of stories about Kyoto. Kyoto is, for me, possibly one of the favourite places in the whole world. It has a sort of quintessentially Japanese feeling to it. There's just a sort of magic in the air, and because I have been there so many times, it has a lot of beautiful memories. It feels very natsukashi, and in some of the locations where I went, it actually brought tears to my eyes because the feeling of these places just is undeniably beautiful and present. For the very first time in my dad's life, and in Rio's actually, we rode the Shinkansen. If anyone has a little boy, you will know that things that move, any sort of norimono, like vehicles, cars, trains, buses, Shinkansen, particularly Shinkansen, small humans, much like Rio, that's the holiday for him. He loved it. He was so interested. And from my dad's perspective, he kept filming out of the window, watching Japan whiz by and Tokyo's like concrete jungle morph into beautiful fields and beautiful Japanese houses. Like, he was mesmerized, firstly by the beautiful scenery of the Japanese countryside, but also by the sheer speed. Like, he was amazed quite how fast the Shinkansen goes, and it was really nice to ride it with fresh eyes. You know, my dad being really excited about the speed and the view, and then Rio just being excited because it's a Shinkansen. So it was a really fun experience, and we had a bento and highballs on the train because that's what was done when Mum visited, and we kind of wanted to honour her by doing a little bit of the things that Mum did in Kyoto before. On the first day, we went to Kiyomizu-dera, which is definitely a place where I shed a tear because it brings back so many beautiful memories and it just has such a powerful energy to it. It's Dad's first time, not only in Kyoto, but also to experience the unique cultural aspects that you can find in a place like Kiyomizu, to see the beautiful scenery and to just feel that vibe, which is so difficult to put into words, but is something that I find in many locations and areas of Japan. Rio had a go at hitting the gong and saying a prayer, which was very cute. In the evening, after a little nap, we went off to Gion and walked around. I really enjoyed the atmosphere. Night has fallen, but it feels like the evening has just begun in an elegant, timeless, very unique Japanese way. I love how Kyoto has like such long shops, like small, but if you sort of peek inside the entrance, it seems to go on for so long. And I feel that's a really unique Kyoto thing. I may be wrong, but when I see that, I feel like, oh, I'm in Kyoto. So we walked around and enjoyed the buzz in the air of Gion, and then we crossed the river and went down to Pontocho and sat in one of the terrace restaurants just outside, overlooking the river underneath the full moon, which, I mean, it couldn't get any better than that. Again, this is something that I did with my mum. We went to the Isetan nearby and we grabbed some champagne and lots of nibbles, and we sat out on the river and had the most amazing time just enjoying ourselves together. And so it felt really nice to show Dad, or to experience that with Dad, but in our own version. So that was lovely. So lovely, in fact, that on the next day we did exactly the same thing, just in a different restaurant. Just on the topic of food and stuff, he's very explorative and loves Japanese food, but he was a bit hesitant. We went to a very sort of Kyoto-esque restaurant on the second night, and I ordered, sorry if I'm saying this wrong, but like Wagyu yuke, raw Wagyu with an egg on the top. And I ordered a few various things like sweet potato fries and salad and yuba. And at first he was a bit like, what did you order? Like, what's going on? We ordered some Kyoto wine, which I'd never tried before myself. And he was, he's very much into his wines and was a bit unsure what I was ordering. We had the most amazing time, and Dad won't stop talking about that yuke. Like, he was like, that egg was almost like red. It was so good. It was so fresh. He really enjoyed experiencing not just Kyoto food or Japanese food, but also Japanese twists on typically Western food, like sweet potato fries served with a mayonnaise honey. Sounds strange, but it works, and I know that Dad will be making that at home for himself. Culturally, we also went to Ginkakuji and Kinkakuji in the same day. Again, places that made me feel very emotional because, I don't know, like beautiful memories, but also just such beautiful places and such culture. I'll be honest, there were a lot of people. Despite the extreme heat, there was still a lot of people visiting and enjoying. I mean, I have to take it with a pinch of salt because I was with Rio and he was really enjoying himself, running around and enjoying, the steps and everything like that. He was having a good time, but for me, it was a little bit difficult to simultaneously try and manage a small, busy human and yet also appreciate the calm, zen-like atmosphere of these beautiful pavilions. but we enjoyed. And after that, we had a quick matcha.
What do you think of matcha, Rio? Niga? What? Suki?
We walked along the Philosopher's Path, and it was beautiful. It was dusk, and it was just that moment where, I guess dusk is a time each day when you're out and about and you see the sun setting. It's a moment to really reflect and appreciate, at least for me, Japan. I love those little quiet moments when you're on your way home or setting off on your way somewhere and you feel such a connection to where you are right now. At least that's how I feel. And so it was a pleasure to enjoy that in special places, Kyoto. One thing I absolutely have to mention about our time in Kyoto was Dad having possibly the best breakfast of his whole life in Nishiki Market. We got there very early, before most of the tourists had come, and to be honest, before most of the shops had even set up. But we wandered around and we enjoyed the shrine at the end. And as we walked along, we saw one shop that had opened quite early, and it was selling typical Nishiki Market style stuff like wagyu nigiri and unagi and some oysters. And I said, you know what? I got 2 hibiki highballs because my dad loves hibiki. We ordered oysters with ikura and uni. We ordered unagi and otoro. It's my dad's first time to try otoro, I think. And he was silent. He just enjoyed that so much. Rio enjoyed running around and trying to steal bananas off monkeys and, you know, whatever almost 2-year-olds do. And it was just a really lovely, slightly naughty and decadent start to the day. After that, we got the Shinkansen and came home, but I really hope that that was a trip that Dad can appreciate and remember his beautiful time in Japan. Otherwise, we basically just spent time relaxing, having home lunches and home dinners because my dad loves to cook. He made many of the meals, which gave me a little chance to take a rest. And Dad just enjoying the Japanese produce. Honestly, if he goes to the fish market, he's just in a little kind of heaven of food and new things that he doesn't know the names of. And even if I translate it into English, you still don't really know what that fish is because we don't have it in our country. So Japan has such a wealth of different types of fish and sea-related things that you just don't find, possibly in most other countries. And Dad really enjoyed embracing that. He'd come home with stuff that he didn't even know what it was and make it taste good. But yeah, I think there was a time where he brought back tuna and it was actually woody. So, but we loved it. It was delicious. So he very much enjoyed the cooking and the food aspect of Japan. And similarly, he loves Japanese knives and crockery. He's not someone who usually splashes out or spends a lot of money on himself. However, he did splurge, he did treat himself to a lovely new Japanese knife, which he enjoyed using basically every night whilst he was here. He also bought some beautiful bowls and cups, and it's quite irresistible, I think, Japanese crockery, because there's so much thought put into the presentation of food. Of course, Japanese generally have such a high standard when it comes to the taste of food, but then also I think that there's a deep understanding of the appearance of food and the presentation. You could serve a delicious meal, but if it's just sort of in a Tupperware, it's very different to when it's on a beautiful plate, which perhaps reflects the season or the flavors. And Japanese really understand that on a sort of intrinsic level, I would say. I feel like I'm probably forgetting so many things about his comments and things, but one thing that really stuck in my mind is his comments about Japanese people, the people he encountered throughout his stay in Japan. He just said how nice people are and how perhaps they're a little shy or perhaps they don't quite understand what he's saying, but there is a deep desire to help and understand and accommodate to the needs of other people. And so, yeah, that was a really nice thing because, again, you know, I live here and I see the kindness of people every day. And so for Dad to say that, it really made me feel so lucky to be in an environment where you feel so safe and you feel so secure and a sense of everyone being able to support each other. And I've talked about this in other videos, but when someone from an individualistic culture comes in to see a collectivist culture or collectivist attitude, it's very heartwarming, because in a way that's how we're supposed to be. We're supposed to connect and protect the people around us as opposed to fighting to be first or something. So that comment, it really hit me and really struck a chord with me, because it's so true, firstly, and it's a really beautiful thing, like that I want to be conscious of every day, because that doesn't happen in other countries necessarily. So I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you for providing a culture in which, each and every one of you living in Japan contribute to a country where people intrinsically feel safe and supported. That's such a beautiful thing that cannot be taken for granted. Okay, one very last point, which is perhaps not the most positive thing, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. So Dad came in September, bless him, and before that we'd been to Bali, and he said, gosh, this is really hot, and I thought, this is training for Tokyo. He met days that were 36 degrees, and coming from the UK, where we don't even have any aircon, I think that was a shock to his system. There were plenty of cold showers and changes of clothes and appreciation of aircon. But I think the interesting thing is, when someone comes from a culture that doesn't use or have or really need aircon, yeah, it was interesting, like the appreciation for aircon, because you can't really comfortably, at least not in Tokyo, you can't really live without aircon. It's not possible, especially in the summer. Well, I probably missed lots of things, but I do feel that this video has gone on for quite a long time. So I hope that you enjoyed all the points that I made today. I'd love to know your comments. What can you appreciate about Japan? Because it's so easy when you live in a culture or a country to sort of take advantage or stop noticing these tiny little things. And I hope that some of the points that I make in this video and future videos can bring back that realization of like, yeah, Japan is amazing. Thank you everyone for contributing to Japan and also for watching this video. Minasan, arigatou gozaimashita. To, o jikan made. Bye bye. Thanks for watching.